Lightworkers Unite is a podcast and social show hosted by intuitive women, lightworkers, and most importantly, friends, Mayume and Manjeet. Welcome to our podcast, Lightworkers Unite, where we believe there is a lightworker within all of us.
Whether you are a medium, an educator, or a nuclear medicine technologist, there is a lightworker within you, and we have work to do.
This is a safe and sacred place where lightworkers connect, grow, and learn.
And share our light with the world. How are you today, Miss Mayume?
I'm pretty good. We're podcasting on a day that we don't usually do this, and it's a Thursday afternoon. So yeah, it's kind of interesting.
Thank you. Yeah, it was my, I had a lot of crazy stuff going on Monday. Yes. And so we had to do a quick finagle of time. So thank you for shuffling all of your time and carving this little time out for me.
No worries. Awesome. It all worked out. It all works out. I swear.
Yeah. Can I tell you a story?
I really am dying to hear this story. Yes. You said beforehand, don't let me forget. I want to tell a story.
Well, I've had a lot of folks reach out to me about my father-in-law, just privately, and I wanted to really thank them with all of my heart. All of the beautiful listeners and friends and family that have been reaching out to connect with me about Tim Williams' dad, who is coming. He had quadruple bypass in August and then had a couple of strokes and then has been in rehab as of last week. Now, this is November. So it's been a long battle, long haul. But he's been living with us this past week.
That's a lot, Manjeet. That is a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable. And I'm sure, our listener, who has ever been in caretaking role. I mean, obviously, Mayume, you know exactly what this is about, right? And we have that other podcast that we recorded earlier about, looking after our elderly parents and stuff.
And so their soul journey, yes.
Yeah, and it was just so interesting. So he's finally back, which is lovely to have him. And he's, I think it really helps. His disposition has been lovely. He's just really funny and he's happy and he's very grateful. And it's been really lovely to have him. But, there's physical therapy, occupational therapy. There's a shower nurse that comes. There's a nurse that comes. There's all these people that are coming to speech pathology, right? They're all coming to help support him. And as a VA, as a veteran, because Veterans Day is coming up tomorrow. So I think that's pretty awesome. We honor him. And it's just been really awesome to see that some of these services that, he's taking care of, they're really, really taking care of him in a really profound way. So that's been really awesome. But so he's been staying here. But we have coffee in the morning. I was telling you this earlier offline. And then we take him to his house because he really wants to spend time in his house, which he lives about 1.5 miles away from us, which is really awesome and super convenient, right?
Okay.
So he goes into his room or into his house and he kind of tinkers around for a little bit. And then we pick him up, a couple hours later, bring him home, and then we have dinner together, and then we watch movies or hang out, and then he goes to bed. So it's been like kind of our routine, right, for the last little while. And I have been wanting to make this bloody apple pie. Okay.
A bloody apple pie?
A bloody apple pie. This apple pie. A bloody apple pie.
That is hysterical that I haven't heard you say bloody. Like that, the little English girl in you. I love it.
It's been on my list. And I even had Mira pick up these beautiful green, like Granny Smith apples. And I've got all this stuff ready to go. And I just have not been able to do hungry. This. Oh yeah. No. And it's like an amazing recipe and it's William's love language. Like when I make this, we don't really give each other gifts, but I will make him an apple pie. And that's like me. saying, I love you. You're amazing. That's just one of the things that, that I do. And I have done for him for many, many years. So whenever he sees the apple pie, I put a W on it or a Russell on it or something, so he knows like, this is like me saying you're a fucking amazing human being,
Aww.
And I hadn't done it in a long time. And he's been under a lot of stress and, working really hard and trying to organize all these bloody appointments and la, 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 la with his dad. And so I'm just going to pin that, right? So this apple pie has been like on my mind. And we actually went away on our conference together. I had been planning this before we actually even went to Scottsdale for our Celebrate Your Life conference. So these apples have been sitting there and everything's ready for me to go. So fast forward a couple of days ago, we dropped William's dad off at his house. And now the weather's getting really gross, right? So he calls at about 4:30 when it's starting to get dark. And he says, can you guys pick me up? I'm feeling really lonely and it's really dark here and I'm really cold. Like, and I really miss Janice. I miss, my wife as she passed a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
And he's just kind of deflated, and he comes home, William picks him up. And in that time that he had gone, I had made the apple pie.
Wow.
So he comes home and he smells the apple pie and he goes, oh my gosh, it smells like Janice's apple pie. That is Janice's recipe.
Holy shit.
I don't know how to make apple pie. I never knew, but I knew William Russell loved this apple pie, but that his mom made.
Yes.
So I made that apple pie. I've used her recipe.
Yes.
So when he came home,
And
I had like literally I had like an hour and a half between circles. Actually, it was like something that was going on in my day. I had something before and then after, and I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to make this friggin' apple pie. It's been driving me nuts. And I just started doing it. I just started making it. So when Grandpa came home, Grandpa Tim, he was like, wow, it smells like Janice's apple pie. I am so happy right now because I really miss her today. And I was like,
yeah, you were meant to do that. She helped you too.
Thank you, Janice. Oh, I knew it. I knew as soon as he said that, I was like, oh my gosh, that's why I made it.
That's why you made it. To help him who was feeling lonely. Oh my God. I'm tearing up right now.
He doesn't talk like that. Oh, no, he doesn't talk like that. He's very stoic. He's a vet, right? He's really, really strong and he doesn't, but he was like, he came home and he goes, I can't believe that. I feel like she's with me right now and eating this beautiful apple pie. And I was just like, I just silently was like, thank you, Mom. Thank you. She knew he was missing her. She knew, and so when we talk about spirit, right, a lot on our podcast, and we talk about intuition, we talk about being a light worker and just picking up on all these little subtle cues. So I just wanted to just thank you for always reminding me, Mayume, to like trust whatever it is that's coming up in your life, because maybe it's not just for you. Maybe it was for Mr. Tim.
Grandpa Tim. Oh, it was for him.
It was for him.
And, oh my gosh, I love that. And then William must have loved it too. I'm sure.
Of course,
his mom, and for him, and so many reasons why that needed to happen. And just that little gave you. And I just, it was so funny because I felt like, when you were saying that, she's helping you. She was like, yep, you can do this. Let's get it done. Just boom, boom, boom.
Oh, yeah. So. And it was literally the pie. I just remember everything about it was so serendipitous because I threw it in the oven and I was like, oh my gosh, okay, I have just a really small window of time before I have to go down to my next circle. I got to get all this has to happen really quickly. And as soon, ding, came out of the oven and I ran downstairs. It was literally like, it was all divine timing. Yes. Like it all just, but I didn't realize that was the funny thing. I didn't put it all together until
he said it.
Until he walked in the door and he said,
I love it.
Oh my gosh, this smells like Grandma Janice's apple pie. And I said, as a matter of fact, it is Grandma Janice's apple pie.
How about he recognized it? Oh gosh.
Yeah, he did. It was amazing.
That serendipity all around that. So much. I love it.
So maybe that's what we're talking about today is just maybe like, some of these really profound little things that are happening right around us that we look back and go, oh wow, that was really spirit guiding me. That was
Yes.
not for me, but it was through me.
Yeah. Right.
Through
Right. Maybe it
me,
wasn't for
right?
me, but through me. Yes.
Yeah.
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 Let's see.
Have you had anything like similar like that happen in the, I don't put you on the spot or what,
Right. Well,
but
I know because we just kind of show up and start talking. So we don't some things we plan, but I want to say yes, but I'm trying to think of anything coming up at the top of my head right now. But especially that you said that wasn't for me, but maybe for someone else. I don't
Mhm.
know, but what I think what more so is like everyone listening out there is to which you such a beautiful story and so close to my heart. And it made me tear up because well, two things,
Mm.
because one, it's a dad, he's a Vietnam vet, so it reminds me of my dad, and the full-time care that we're kind of going through, and my mom is
Oh.
unfortunately declining. Each day is worse and worse. And so listening to that story, it brings like that compassion for their lives and who they are and where we're at, because this is the cycle of life. I mean, whether
Mm.
it's our own, we're a teenager, we're in our 20s, we get married, we have kids, we're a mom, and then all of a sudden the kids grow up, they leave the house, and now we're faced with taking care of our parents. And I know that's the normal phase, but it was like a beautiful reminder to hear this story, that you share this, and that if we can listen to spirit, and maybe subconsciously, you weren't aware that you were listening to spirit, but something
Yeah.
inside you was pushing and nudging you, saying, just do it, just do it.
Yes.
And I think
Yes.
that we need to honor that. I hope that everyone listening, and myself included, sometimes I'll hear a voice or feel a nudge, but I might ignore it or push it away and say, I
Mhm.
don't have time for that right now. But what would have happened if I said, fuck it, I'm
Yeah.
just going to do it. I'm short on
Yeah.
time. And so you listened to that and you went with it. And I think that's where we all should come from, is what am I hearing? What are the nudges? What's going on here? And how do I pay attention to it and
Mhm.
decide, do I turn right? Do I turn left? Do I pause here? Do I go? I don't know. I feel like this is happening all the time with us. I feel like
Yeah.
our guides and loved ones are near us and
Yes.
that
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah, and I like ever since he moved in, like it's been really, because really honestly, he shouldn't be alive. I mean, honestly, he has been through hell, and I mean, we were really, really, really astounded that he's actually, thank God, still with us, right? And so it's been really interesting. As soon as he moved in, I feel Grandma Janice. I feel her energy everywhere, like all the time. And like little things are kind of like move, in the house.
Yeah.
Like there was a blanket on the corner of his chair, and it fell over. And I went, oh, Dad, do you need the blanket on you? And he goes, yeah, I'm really cold. And so I was like, oh, that was Mom, right? She was saying,
Like the blanket.
put a blanket on this guy. He's freezing, I was like, oh my gosh. It was just like all these like really interesting things. And I know I just thought that was really, really interesting to really feel her. She's really strong right now, her energy. Because I know ever since she passed, I would feel her in our home every now and again, and then she'd be gone. Like she's off with her other kids. She has lots of kids. 7 kids, so she's off and about doing her thing. And then, but lately, it's been really fascinating. Like I kind of look over my shoulder, like, oh, hi,
Mhm.
Mom. Like she's right here. It's
Yeah.
palpable. Like one time I smelled her perfume, like
Yep.
really strong. And I was like, wow, gosh, this is kind
Yep.
of, I mean, it kind of freaked you out a little.
Oh yeah.
It kind of was like, oh, hi, Mom. What the
Yeah.
hell?
All the damn time. Yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
I don't know.
It's
It's bizarre.
it's cigarette smoke is my dad. I'll just have a whiff. And it's not even like fresh. It's like all stale, like shoved in his ashtray of his beat up truck. Like it's that kind of cigarette smell. You get jumping in the truck, you're like, that's a lovely smell, Dad. And that's the smell. And I freaking love it. And it's such a Varnell man smell, is that what I call it, and
it is
just the smoke and the truck and the hunting and the fishing. Just, I don't know. It's just something about it. I love it. I could sit in that truck and just absorb it all. I love it. So that smell,
crazy?
Isn't it crazy? Yeah.
And I wonder, like, for our listeners, what are the smells that come up for you that remind you of someone that has departed?
Or an event, a place, a home. There's all those kinds of smells. Well, Christmas is coming. Surprise, surprise. And we all know how I feel about Christmas. And I'm already getting giddy. Hallmark movies are already airing. And John is like, no, absolutely not. So when he goes to bed, I'm like, I'm just going to sneak in one. And I like to have it on in the background because it literally makes me feel good. It brings me to a high vibe. And with Christmas, there's a candle that they stopped making, Yankee Candle. That was my candle every Christmas when the girls were babies. And they stopped. And I want to cry because it's that scent. It's called Home for the Holidays. That reminds me of my little core family of John and the girls and Christmas. So I'm like, what am I going to do about that? I'm trying to buy them somewhere, other places, and now they're cost $1 million. But yeah, they're out of production, and they, how they do that sometimes.
Lame. Yes. Discontinue stuff.
Discontinue. That was the word I was looking for. Discontinued it. And obviously they have a million different type of holiday scents, but I was like, really? That one hurts my heart. Like I'm wondering, will I ever smell it again? So, and do my girls feel that way about it? I don't know. But yeah, the scents, the smells of spirit that is around us. My dad's been flickering lights, and he never used to flicker lights. And I know it's him because I've tested it. I was like, Dad, if that's flicker it again. Come on, do it now.
Of course, you did.
Yeah, just like, but it was a knowing, deep knowing that it was him. And sometimes if there's arguing going on in the house, in the kitchen, in the core, the girls, dad, me, whatever's, if there's arguing, it'll start to flicker, and it'll stop me. I'll be like, okay, Grandpa Dan is saying, calm the fuck down, everybody. Calm your shit.
Everybody, stop. Yeah.
Stop. It is. It is. And John always looks at you. That's not your dad. It's just a light bulb. We got to replace it. And I'm like, okay, well, you can choose to believe whatever. I mean, I think you replace it. It's still flickering.
Yeah, so that's the thing. You replace those buggers and then they come right back to, but then, the electrician, would say, oh, it's a faulty wire or something,
or it's a bad bulb. But it's, of course,
or it's Grandpa Dan.
It's Grandpa Dan. I'm telling you.
I know. I believe it too. I believe that there's no coincidences with that kind of stuff. We definitely have been seeing a lot of that. There was one light in my bedroom that actually does that a lot, and just starts flickering. So like this last weekend, I was cleaning out my closet. With the winter, like getting rid of some of the summer. I hate doing that stuff.
I know.
It's so annoying, but very, very important because I was feeling like that clutter. I mean, we did that episode about when there's a lot of clutter, you start feeling like heavy, and that energy really needed to get cleared in my closet. So I started pulling everything out and just getting rid of stuff. And it was really it was a very cathartic weekend for me. But the whole time it was weird because I was actually thinking about my sister Belby, because when she came to visit me many, many years ago, she did that for me. She cleared my entire closet out. And
Belby, I love you. I want an older sister. Dang it.
Oh, honey, I know. She's the best. She's the best. It was really cool because it was such a beautiful gift, like she cleaned my whole garage out. Like, I mean, she's just like that, right? That's what sisters do. So she's pulling out all my clothes and she's like, girl, you do not need this dress anymore. It does not fit you. It fits maybe one of your boobs. It's garbage. Come on, Manjeet, throw it out. Like, she was my realist, right? Now, this after I had a couple babies, so my body's not the same. And so she was like my realistic, like, closet cleaner. And she did all that for me. And so every time I do that, I do that a couple times a year. Every time I do it, I think of Belby. I think of that gift and how much I love her and how grateful I am. And the whole time I was doing it this time, my light was flickering. And so it was like her. She's not passed, obviously, but it's like her energy. So do you believe that could be like, it felt like she was with me the whole time?
Yes. You have to honor that, what you feel. Cause that's what I would ask anyone in my readings or sessions or whatever. If that light flickering and you look at it, what is the first thought that enters your mind? Because that's the truth. So yes, her higher self, her guides contacting you, whatever it is, it's her energy. Yeah. I love that. That's amazing. That's so cool. But that's true.
I love that.
Yeah. The light's flickering. That's so fun. I was going to say something to that effect. What was I going to say? And I lost it. So keep talking.
I know. I love it. I think sometimes we think that we can't be getting signals, maybe because they're alive, right? Like, and so I think that was where, what I wanted to just touch on today is, I think that, even the folks that are still alive that you're feeling connected to, they pop up and they want to be a part of your life. They want to be there for you,
Well, it's just like the old story of, oh gosh, I'm thinking about Uncle Jim right now. My dad used to say this all the time, actually. I'm thinking about Uncle Jim right now. I wonder if he's thinking about me. And then the phone rings and it's Uncle Jim. So it's those little things where, yes, and with astral travel, which should be another podcast, you can, your soul can travel and you have an intention to go visit someone and see them, and you'll see them in the kitchen chopping up, making apple pie, whatever it is. And so you call them later. Hey, were you by chance in the kitchen making apple pie yesterday? And sure as shit they were. So our energies on this plane, we're all interconnected. We're all still souls. So yes. In a lot of my readings, Spirit will present someone that'll stand where fathers stand. They'll show me what they look like. I'll even get a first name, and then I'll keep going. And the person that I'm talking to's mouth's open. They're like, well, that's my husband. Everything you just said is my husband, but he's still alive. And so I'll be like, and then I'm like, sorry. And then they're freaking out. Like, do I need to call home? Like, no.
Exactly. Right.
And what's so funny?
Lisa, it's energy.
It's energy, and it's spirit showing me also that there's something going on with her husband here. So it's like the energy and his higher self is saying there was a message for her about her husband that was coming through, and it was such a weird way. And then of course, I that's when I started to realize and learn that I have to have them give me some kind of sign that they're on the other side or still on this plane.
Right.
Because I'll get their higher self coming in. So we are all energy intertwined. And sometimes like I say, we send love and light to people, healing love and light, or just, sometimes it's really hard to forgive somebody, but I say, if you can't forgive someone, there's anger, you could send them love and light from a distance, from afar. And if you can't do it by picturing them as they are in front of you, then pick an age. I always say, let's say maybe they're 15, 12, a 4-year-old. A 4-year-old is innocent and pure and a free spirit and is giggling and laughing and doesn't know any better. Let's send that age because it's the same soul. It's the same soul, but giving love and light and in the intention. And our energies are very, very powerful. So they can flicker lights, they can move shit, and here for some of us. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Yeah, it just hit me. I've been dying to tell
I
you
love
this,
it.
and he might kill me that I'm doing it on air. But remember, I told you
Ooh,
that Johnny
yes.
saw spirit. Did we never really
Yes.
got into it?
No, we never, you
We
said, you
never,
sent me actually a text message and said, Manjeet, I need to
yeah.
tell you this. And we
And
just, it's like,
and then in
it's
Scottsdale, I was
meant to
like,
be
I got to
now.
tell you, ladies, I got to tell you guys. So, and I never did. And then I asked him permission. Can I tell some of my friends? And he's like, well, who? Well, now he doesn't know anybody out there. So nobody's going to be like, nobody cares. I won't even tell him. But yeah, it's something about the energy in the house. I don't know who or what it was. I need him to sit down and tell me more. But it was around 10:30 p.m. He goes to bed much earlier than me. And I was still downstairs with my mom. And that's the other thing I'm taking note. I want to talk about that too. And so I hear this, get out. Yeah, seriously.
What?
Yes. And then, right. And I was like, did he just fall out of bed? Did he get hurt? But he said, get out. Like, no, that's what, no, get out. So I was like, oh my God, he saw
Oh my
something. So
gosh.
I go
Yeah.
running up there and
Oh my
open the
gosh.
door, and he's already back in bed, and he's still cut in and out, like out of it. And I said, John, are you okay? What? Yeah. I just saw something. I saw something. And I said, well, what did you see? He goes, I don't know, some black shadow hovering over me. I don't know. Scared me to death, though. It's okay. It's okay. And he was so tired, he went right back to sleep. So he's kind of like in the in between.
Oh my
So it
gosh.
was so wild, man. So I let him sleep. And then the next morning I grilled him. I'm like, okay, do you remember last night? And he was like, oh, yeah, because he had to think about it. And I said, tell me, what did it look like? What did it feel like? What happened? And he said, God, he goes, Yum, I'm going to tell you right now, I've never, ever, ever felt that feeling before. He goes, I didn't like it.
Oh,
And it scared
wow.
the shit out of me. And he said, I felt like you. I saw this energy, or whatever you want to call it, like this. It was like this shadow above me. And he goes, and it was right there. So I put my hand in. I was just kind of touching it. I was like, am I really seeing this?
Oh my
I laugh because it
gosh.
is really like what he looks over, and I'm doing that same shit. Like I'm touching shit. And he's always like, I could never see what you were doing. He goes, and I'm doing exactly what, and he goes, then all of a sudden it turned. He goes, I kind of got scared a little bit, like, oh, this is weird. And then he said it kind of turned into like, the figure was filled of like crows and bats or spiders, like black things. Yeah.
Oh,
That's when he
whoa.
said no and get out. And he said
Nope.
nope. And he ran to the light and turned it on to see, because he thought it was there and he wanted to, see it. And he
Oh,
goes, and then of
wow.
course nothing was there. That's how real. He's like, I need to turn the light on. And so he said his heart was racing, and he's like, it was not warm and fuzzy. So that's, at all.
Oh, what do you think it
And
was? Like, what do you think that?
what do I think, or what did he think? He just he
Yeah.
sloughed it off. He's probably forgotten all about it. He's like, I don't know.
Mhm.
Right. And he won't go there. So I, of course, was like, well, that's weird. Like at first I thought maybe it was a guide or a spirit or his dad, and that can come, but I don't think his dad would come across like that. And I don't think his guides would either. Maybe what energy came at first and then turned when his fear set in, because he started to get kind of
Mm,
scared, like this is weird. And then it kind of turned dark. And if
yeah.
he's in the in-between state, he's not really remembering his thoughts, of what he was thinking. It just got scary, and he got scared
Yeah.
and then said, no, get out. And then it was done. What do you think?
Wow.
I've been dying to ask you, like, what are your thoughts?
Wow. It's interesting because I actually when when you said like a guide, I actually felt like that might have been like, so like, but the fear when that, like when you said the fear kind of sets in, because it did feel kind of, it feels kind of paternal. It feels like a guide. It feels like something, but the imagery is really important because that's how we interpret things.
Mhm.
I feel like maybe inside him, he might be feeling that way right now in his life. Maybe he's feeling like there's a lot going on inside of him, and it's like wanting to come out, and it feels maybe hard, like maybe he's going through some hard times right now. Feeling overstretched. That's the energy of that to me was, I just need to let go, but it feels kind of dark in here and I'm not really happy. And I think sometimes our guides do that. They kind of mirror how we're feeling right now to give validation that this is where you are. But when you just see that out of context, it can be scary as fuck.
It's scary as fuck.
But because I don't feel like, I think you're such a good protector of spirit. I can't imagine that it would be a negative entity or something, maybe it was his guide, maybe saying, listen, I understand you're feeling this way. Maybe you're feeling a bit stressed and anxious or nervous or whatever it is. Maybe, just letting that go. Out of him, maybe helping him kind of let it go, but he was like, "What the fuck?"
Well, when you're like, exactly. Well, you're half asleep. Like, why would a guide at that time decide in the dark to show you? Oh, this is what you're. It is scary, no matter what. But I really do feel like fear set in before he. For
sure. So you misinterpret the messaging when you get fear.
Absolutely.
Right. Like you won't see what is actually intended because fear will block that. Fear, doubt, and negative energy. Those are the three, I call them the spiritual cock blocks. They block everything from seeing the truth, right? It's fear, negative energy, negative and doubt. And I think, he probably went right into fear mode and was like, oh, this imagery is really scary. I don't understand. And I don't like it.
Don't like it.
Lights on, I'm out. Yeah.
I'm out. I think about that and I still do this today and I catch myself doing it and I'll stop like, Mayume, don't do that. And I tell the girls to not do it. But when you're a little kid and you're afraid, you're trying to go to sleep and you stare into the closet, right? That little crack of the closet door. And if you stare, everyone knows what I'm talking about right now. And when you stare long enough, you will create shit that is in your mind. That is not really there.
100%.
Then you think you've seen something, but it's all in our mind. And you're staring and like, oh my God, is that the form of oh my God, there's something in my closet, and I've caught myself. I used to do that all the time, but I've caught myself all the time staring at something and then really conjuring it. I mean, I'm making this shit up and I'll stop.
Absolutely.
Because it gets into fear, that lower frequency. Yeah. I really believe
stop
that.
And breathe.
Yeah, it's all in our mind. A lot of this is, and that we can project and have something in front of us that looks really real that we might have misinterpreted, or because of where we're coming from, distorts what it actually is.
Yeah. It's like the lens that we have on changes everything, right? It's like we walk around with our own lenses, right? Our own perspective of what we want to see, what we want to filter, what we want to, how we want to see. I think spirit, we walk through the world like that, right? Don't we? We walk through the world with, different, like they say, rose-colored glasses, right? But like the lens of positivity or grace or love or whatever. And then there's a lot of people that walk through the lens of like, everyone's out to get me. This isn't I'm not gonna work for me. I'm and I think the same thing is with spirit. We have a lens that we walk through that can shape and change all of that meaning. So it's about making a concerted effort. What is my intention with spirit when I see it and when it shows up?
That's right.
You work only in the love and light. That's
only in the love and light, positive energy, high vibe frequency. And that's it. Like you just said, and to walk in that daily, that's where you're going to see all the serendipity in the world, and that's where the synchronicities will show up for you, and all the luck, the good thing, the good connections, I think is when we are in that state of happiness and joy. And we all know how hard that is, everyone, when we're in grief, when we're in anger, when we're in lack, depression, all of that stuff, when we're scared, fear. So, what is one to do when our life feels like everything's going wrong? I'm having physical issues. I've lost, so many people in my life. I've lost my job. So all of a sudden people stay in that low frequency because all these things have happened around them and they don't know how to pull up. They can't see the wondrous, beautiful things that are around them anymore when we're stuck in that low vibe.
Yeah. And I think that's okay. It's okay to be there too, right? Like we've all been in those places in our life where we feel like really defeated, isolated, alone, and terrified. Those are all very valid places where we go. I mean, when you described that, that was exactly how I felt when I had my when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. That was exactly where I was at. And I was almost resentful for everybody who had a clean mammogram. Like you're so negative. You're in such a dark place. And, I really feel like for me, what really helped me, what really served me was truly the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 your life. I really stand by that, that formula for me, because I really needed to stop. I needed to, number 2, breathe. I needed to really ask myself some powerful questions in number 3, analyze mode, where I was like, what is the truth of my life right now? Where do I want to invest my energy and love and light right now? And then I can actually acknowledge, I'm in fear mode. I'm in 100% fear mode. That is exactly where I am, and just embrace that, but not having those steps beforehand, I think it just kept me in constant ambiguity, or no confidence. I didn't have confidence in my feelings of fear. But once I 1, 2, 3'd it, I got to the 3rd place. I'm like, I'm fucking scared as hell. Then it was like, I get to really just embrace my fear right now.
Yeah.
And I don't want to live here. So what am I going to do about it? That's number 4. Let's make some decisions, and for me, just to finish the process with the breast cancer diagnosis, my decision was I choose to do all the testing that I need. I need information. I need to arm myself with knowledge right now. I need to get myself information and still be okay with me being in fear.
Yes.
But I'm in a gathering mode. So I made some decisions. I'm going to do the MRI guided biopsies. I'm going to go do the mammogram. I'm going to go do the biopsies. I got to go do the blood work. I got to do all the fucking BRCA testing. I mean, I'm going to do the work. That was the decision that brought me into power.
Yes.
And the action was, okay, now what do I do? Now I've got information, the fear starts to dissipate. But if we're stuck in number 3, where we're analyzing, it's really hard, isn't it? It's hard to find the light. It's hard to get out of there. So, I mean, if this serves anybody out there, if you're in a darker place or you're feeling a little defeated, and ask spirit. That was part of my analyzing, is what does spirit want me to learn from this? What the fuck, guides? Like, help me out here, who can I bring in to help me, and that's where you came in,
Yeah. And a lot of people don't know that they can do that and ask for help. And I know, and of course, in the form of prayers, a lot of people will do that. But actually asking for help and what is it from this? Why am I going through this right now? Is there a lesson to be learned? Is it my lesson? Because sometimes it's not our lesson, it's someone else's lesson. I mean, all the time, right? Our soul contract, we come in and this happened because we had to learn anything, because we decided that we would sacrifice ourselves for someone else's lesson. Part of it. So, but asking and seeing what comes up, some people might be like, okay, fine, I'll ask, but then what? How do I know what the answers are? How do we get the answers? And I say, and you and I have said this before with people, like, what's the first thing that enters your mind? I mean, get quiet, do it, make it a ceremony, light a candle saying, okay, I'm going to pray right now. I'm going to meditate, which means I'm going to talk and I'm going to listen. So you ask for help and then listen, be quiet your mind and just kind of get into a peaceful state where you can have those thoughts come in, and spirit will always, always, always talk to you in a calm, compassionate way. Sometimes curious, sometimes it's like, oh, that's, very curious, but never negative, critical, or mean, ever, ever, ever. That's the difference. So listening to spirit and what thoughts enter your mind as soon as you ask the question, what's the first thought that comes to you? That's how they talk to us. But if anyone here doesn't know about Manjeet's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 year life, I mean, there's got to be an acronym for this instead of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I want to call it something. So that
it's called 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 your life. That's what it's called. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 your life. It is literally just that. But what is it?
Let's tell them, because when you're speaking about it, but I don't know what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is.
Oh,
tell our listeners.
Oh yeah. Oh, I thought I just did with the stop. Breathe.
But I didn't get all the way to 5. I got lost in the middle.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Okay. Yes. Okay. There we go. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. The 1, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 your life, meaning it's my trademark process to really get yourself out of disasterbation, get yourself out of getting yourself out of fear mode, getting yourself out of action paralysis, getting yourself out of this feeling of being stuck, because that is the number one thing that a lot of my clients are going through. They feel stuck in their life for whatever reason. So that's how we created the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's the first step is 1 is stop. So wherever you are, however you are feeling in that moment, if you're feeling nauseous, you're feeling stressed, you're feeling angry, you feel like you want to pop off at somebody, the very first step is to stop yourself. Yeah. And that can look like a little stop sign in the middle of your forehead. It can look like actually closing your eyes. That's a big way that I stop, because we're so sensory overloaded.
Yeah.
Stop. Right? Really, really important. Number 2 is breathe. Nice deep breath in and a nice deep breath out. So I usually go 4 seconds in, 8 seconds out. Just breathe and do this a couple of times, just so you're feeling back into your heart, back into your energy. And this has a really strong biochemical component where you're bringing oxygen, fresh oxygen up into your brain and into your heart and your lungs. But it's also amplifying the stopping, right? And it's very similar to, like Eckhart Tolle's, the power of now, right? And it's about being in the present moment, not letting things in the past rule what you're going to say and do, or also projecting what could possibly happen in the future, change, guide what it is that you want to say and do. So the stopping and breathing is really, really powerful. It really brings us into the now, into the moment. And that brings us into a really powerful place for number 3, which is analyze. And this is where we're in a place to ask ourselves a powerful question. So this is having basically your intuitive life coach in your back pocket, right? Instead of, having me with you or your coach, you're having your own self as your coach and asking yourself the powerful question. So here you might ask yourself the question of, what would serve me right now? Do I need to just walk away from this conversation, right? You might ask yourself something like, what is the most empowering thing that I can say in this moment to this person? Right? It might sound something like,
I like it.
What's in my best interest right now? Right? Maybe in your best interest, it's really to stop and breathe again. Take another stop and breathe, right?
I like it.
Right? So analyzing is a really powerful place, because this is where we generate clarity. We generate clarity and we align ourselves with what we want to do next, instead of popping off at your kid or popping off at your husband or saying something you're going to regret. So the analyze phase is really empowering.
So that's what you meant by where you could get stuck in 3. I was like, I understand. Stuck in analyzing. Yeah. Got it.
Right. You can get really, really stuck in analyze mode. You can start just, and this is really disasterbation. That's the definition of it, is when you go into analyze mode and you just go, analyze until you just, and nothing happens.
Yeah.
So in order to get yourself out of the analyze mode, asking yourself a really powerful question like, what do I need to do right now? Where is my heart right now in this moment? Right. And then once you ask that question and answer it, now you're in number 4, which is a decision. So now you're in a place to create a really powerful decision for yourself that is in alignment with who you are.
Yes.
Now you're acting, right? Now you're making the decision that it says, I do not want to pop off at my husband right now because that doesn't serve me. It's not in alignment with who I am. I want to be a compassionate partner in this moment. So I'm going to make the decision to say, you know what, honey, I can tell that we're not having a really good conversation about this. Can we talk about this in about 10 minutes?
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah,
Make the
like
decision to defer the conversation so you can be more in your power, right?
So 4 is make a decision.
Make the decision.
Make
Yeah.
the decision.
Because you can analyze all day long.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
But making that decision is really powerful.
So you could call it decide. Yeah. Is it number 4?
Decide. Yeah.
Got it.
So stop, breathe, analyze, decide.
Decide.
Yeah. And then number 5 in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-year life is do. Now you got to do it. Put your money where your mouth is, and now you actually do it. So if you're going to declare to your husband in this moment, we need to take a break. Now you actually have to physically remove yourself and say, I'll meet you back here in 20 minutes because I can't do this right now.
Yep.
I'm going to say something I'm going to regret, and I'm not going to be happy with that. And you might say something you're going to regret, and that's not going to be good. So let's take a breather. Let's decide together, and let's do that. Remove yourself.
Yep.
And then come back. Yeah.
I love this.
So that is the 5 steps that I use with corporate clients all the time. I use it in my private practice. I use it with teens, teenagers that are really struggling to kind of get themselves out of stressful situations or feeling defeated or deflated. You have a lot more power than we think we do. And what's interesting is identifying where you struggle. Maybe you have a really hard time stopping and breathing. Maybe you have a really easy time going into action. Go, 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 go. But if you're not stopping and breathing and analyzing, your action is going in directions that aren't in alignment with who you are. Right?
Okay.
So that action is really a lot of energy expended, but it's not in any productive manner. Yeah. So we need to get clarity, move forward, go back, stop and breathe, and then analyze so that that action and those decisions that you're making are really, truly where you want to be. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. I love this. This is, I can see where corporate people could use this with relations to customers or co-workers,
sales.
Sales, right? I mean, Johnny Corelli keeps coming up. I'm like, Johnny Corelli. Johnny Corelli could 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 his life.
Yeah, girl, we all need a little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, in your life. But I
love it. Thank you for sharing that. Yes.
Yes. And if you have any questions about it, feel free to reach out to us. But I would love to hear where you struggle in the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like where maybe you have a really easy time stopping and breathing. And maybe it's really difficult for you to make the decision and go into action. Maybe it's the other way, right? I know for me, I get stuck really like in analyze mode. I'm a strategist, right? I want to analyze the fuck out of it. And then sometimes I can't decide what I need to actually do,
Actually do.
So, but knowing this about yourself, right, is really, so like, what do you think? What about yourself? Where do you get stuck in that?
It probably is the overanalyzation, and taking action. Because for me, I think I can stop very easily. I can stop, love the breathing. I mean, I'm a big meditator. I think I can see a situation and be like, no, I need to just stop, slow down. I tend to, or flee, right? I flee. That's my way of stopping is I leave. But I would see analyzing it almost too much. And, I would say the same, Manjeet, that
interesting.
Or just like, what am I to do? And what are my options? And like you said, what is the strategy? Should I do this or should you do that? Before I make a decision and then take action, I need to know what my options are and what's going to best benefit myself and others. What's for my highest good here. So I could see myself getting to that, where I feel like Johnny doesn't stop and breathe, and he's already analyzed it. He's already made a decision, and he's on to taking action. It's like, no, but and I'm still breathing while he's like, okay, this is what we're going to do.
Isn't it interesting? I know it's interesting, isn't it? Because, when you think about it with your partner, that is a huge step. Like, it's a huge thing to understand, like, oh, I'm pushing you to analyze when you're not ready to.
Yeah.
You need to stop and breathe a little longer. And I need to honor that, because that's actually your process. So I think in relationships, knowing this about each other is actually really helpful. I'm a lot more like you in that I will flee if I'm, I want to like go away. Like I won't. And, some folks don't like that at all.
No.
They want you to stay with them, talk it through.
Yeah. John Corelli. Where are you
and
going?
I'm not,
Oh, go ahead, ma'am. Just go ahead and leave like you always do.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love it. Isn't it so funny?
I have to go breathe. Yeah.
Look, I'm in phase 1 and 2. Okay.
That's right.
I'm 1 and 2ing my life right now.
I'm 1 and 2ing my life. Stop. You just stop. That's where the hand comes up. Johnny Curly, you stop.
Yeah. So I love it.
Really
I love it. So I hope it serves you. And this, of course, is my baby, my book. It's the whole premise of the disasterbation, the name of the book, which is I've been working on relentlessly in these last couple months. But I'd love to share it with all the world. So thank you for asking that, my sweet sister.
No problem, my friend.
Yay!
All right.
Well, on that note,
I mean, we kind of went a little bit all over the place here. If you think we started talking about, serendipity and spirit and what are the signs and how does it maybe work through you to get to someone else, and then we got into scary shit with John C. and spirit, and then we got to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 our lives. So that was awesome.
I know. Oh, yay. And I love you so much. So leave comments. Let us know if any of this resonated or made any fucking sense.
Yeah. Yes. I think it did.
Yes.
I just love you, listeners. Thank you so much for joining us. And then, Thanksgiving is kind of right around the corner. So that's coming up.
Oh, yes. We're so grateful for all of you.
Thank you. All right, you guys. Take care.